Hello and welcome to round 14 coverage of Grand Prix Sydney. I'm Brian David Marshall. I am joined by Marshall Sutcliffe. There on your left, you see Petr Sahoric. He is from the Czech Republic. He is a newly platinum player. He's 4 points behind Lucas Blohan for that World Magic Cup seat, and 3 points behind Andre Strosky. He's got Grand Prix top 8 or 2 in his career.
Yeah, we're looking at Petr's deck as we are coming into the round here, and he's got a green-white aggressive deck that's looking to try to finish the game using Borrowed Grace, which can give all your creatures +2/+2 until end of turn. He also has 3 Angelic Purge in his list, which is going to be really nice. It's one of the premium removal spells in the format, and a Choking Restraints as well. So he's got a really nice mix of threats and removal spells, and I really like his deck here. Now, Brian, it looks like he's decided to go for a little more of we call it a dirtle deck, right? He's kind of messing around with his graveyard, making some mana, doing some things, and trying to set up for a big finish with Emrakul.
Right, cycles a Terrarium there to play Byway Courier.
And to get his card back out of it.
Gets the Dawn Gryph going for Petr Sahoric. By the way, Brian Braun-Duin, in addition to everything else that he's playing for, he's a gold pro. So if he gets 12-4 this weekend, he clinches platinum.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Which is a huge deal going into the last Pro Tour, too.
I mean, hasn't he done that? What do we have, 2 more?
36 is 12, so he's got one more match to go.
One more match to go. Gotcha. Geez, enough on the line for BBD.
Yeah.
God, I hope he likes his draft deck. That's insane.
Hey, I've got this really sweet draft deck. Yeah? Is anything on the line?
Platinum and a world seat, that's all.
All right, It of the Hard Swarm.
Yeah, and this is a big deal for Petr as well. I mentioned earlier that he's got the 2 Borrowed Grace, and this is a card that gives him 3 bodies for just 1 card. Now, he did end up having to sacrifice a Dawn Gryph to make this work. But still, that's a big deal for him, as it can act as a total win condition. It also kind of dominates the board here as it's put up a 4/4 blocker.
And even 1/1 blockers. The Furtive Homunculus can't even get in here.
Good point. I also noticed that Petr has he's got an Inspiring Captain to help with that,
nice.
Pump up my team thing as well.
Light Maniac for Brian Braun-Duin.
Mm-hmm. That's solid. That puts up 2 blockers on his side, and maybe get some food for an Emerge creature down the line.
What kind of Emerge creatures are in BBD's deck?
Let's take a look. He's got a Drownyard Behemoth. We talked about the Emrakul earlier, which of course doesn't have Emerge. He's also got a Lashweed Lurker and a Wretched Gryph. So he's got kind of an all-star lineup of Emerge creatures here. That's really great for Brian. I like his deck a lot.
And Light Maniac is like the ideal
it's
emerge fodder.
It leaves you a real card behind in a 3/2 Eldrazi token, and it takes up a big chunk of the Emerge cost with a converted mana cost of 4. So yeah, it's pretty good. The Foul Emissary is probably the one you want the most. But of the commons, yeah, I think the Enlightened Maniac's definitely good.
There you get a look at Petr Sahoric. And there's that Inspiring Captain you mentioned. He sends in the two insects as 2/2s and the 5/5.
These are all acceptable trades from Petr's perspective. If you want to trade off your Eldrazi token for my 1/1 insect, no problem. So,
and
a great attack here.
And Brian Braun-Duin trades the Byway Courier and the Furtive Homunculus for the 5/5. Gets Clue token for his effort.
Not a bad trade from Brian's perspective either. He generates a clue out of the deal, so it ends up being effectively a 1-for-1. A little slow, but it is a 1. Uh-oh, here's ongoing investigation for BBD. Look at the look on BBD's face, by the way. You know he's feeling it, man. This is not your casual draft with friends on a Sunday. This is serious business. This is the next year of Brian's life.
Absolutely.
The results of this one booster draft are going to have a profound impact on what he does for the next year of his life, how much money he makes. The life of a Magic player, man. It is high stress, and he's looking for that big reward here.
And a little year-end bonus at Pro Tour Eldritch Moon next week.
If he hits platinum
If
now.
he hits platinum now, yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, that matters, right? It's not just next year, it's this year too.
Oh,
I just
boy, look at
mentioned
this,
Fel
he's going
unnecessary.
off.
Did he hear me? He said, yeah, I got one of those too,
Look at
Marshall.
this Bloodbriar with 2 clues in play.
Okay. That's sweet. I have not seen that yet.
There's the foul emissary. You see there when you enters the battlefield, you look at the top 4 cards, and you can reveal a creature and put it into your hand. And then, if you sacrifice it,
You get one of those Eldrazi tokens.
ah,
But you have to sacrifice it to an emerged creature.
To an emerged
It's a little
creature, yeah.
specific, but
yeah. Bloodbriar doesn't care. He just heard the word sacrifice.
yeah,
He's pulsing with excitement.
just growing.
Petter just keeps on sending in the team. Light Maniac blocks one of the insects. Brian falls to 10, and there's a Dawn Griff. Just an innocuous 2/2 flyer.
Potentially could
It's not a lot of hard work this weekend.
the Dawn Griff?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Now Brian has to figure out how does he proceed from here without, losing those precious last 10 points of life.
Yeah, it's really important. The thing about Brian is that his deck is much better in the long game. He's got Emrakul and a bunch of emerged creatures. He's got an ongoing investigation that if he can get that rolling, that he can start generating huge advantage from that as well.
So here you
Where
see
Petra's deck is much more straightforward. It just is trying to power through that last 10 points.
here you see the dream of every blue-green player who's drafted this format already. Plays a Bloodbriar for 3 mana, then sacrifices a clue, draws a card, and puts a counter on the Bloodbriar. And he has the ongoing investigation.
He does, and he's got a few creatures in the graveyard. He's got a Furtive Homunculus
And a byway
and a
courier.
Byway Courier, and he has chosen not to gobble those up with the ongoing investigation as of yet, but that will be part of his game plan going forward. This is exciting stuff.
Petter draws his card for the turn.
Petter trying to keep BBD out of the Platinum
Yeah,
Club
yeah.
here.
He's like, nothing personal, buddy,
But I
but
like my seat just fine, thank you.
all right. Well, he's got an Angelic Purge in hand. But he's a little constrained on mana here.
Yeah, he could sacrifice one of the
Actually,
insects.
yeah. First things first, get in for 2. Angelic Purge, the ongoing investigation.
Hey, you do what you got to do, Petter. And you know what? He did that at
How
at
much
a
life
very
did
good
that
time.
represent?
I mean, that was probably 6 to 8 life.
Yeah.
And he knows his game plan is to try to kill BBD with that Dawn Griff and maybe a pump spell or another flyer. He's got an Emissary of the Sleepless in his hand, and he may be able to try to set that up for next turn if he can find a land. But that was a key sequence there because BBD was really trying to rely on that ongoing investigation this turn, and he had yet to activate it.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, here's a Lashweed Lurker.
on my mana-constrained opponent.
Yeah, well, I guess what? I'll tell you what. He's not hitting his 5th mana, and he's going to redraw his only threat. That was probably the game-winning play there for Brian Braun.
There you see the Lashweed Lurker.
And also you see attacks now because BBD has recognized, look, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to replay that Dawn Griff,
Right,
and
you
in
see the
they
word
go.
sacrifice on the emerge tax, so that means a counter goes on the Bloodbriar. He gets a 3/2 Eldrazi token.
That is 2 more counters on a Bloodbriar than I have yet seen, so good job, BBD.
And he's got an extra counter sort of stored on the table with that clue.
He does indeed, and the mana to crack it now that you mention it,
Yeah.
Brian. So this is This is falling apart very quickly for Petr. I like how he played it, but BBD has really flexed on having more mana available. You know, Petr has stumbled a couple of turns on mana, and it's really fallen behind as a result.
Inspiring Captain eats an Eldrazi.
Yeah, Brian says, yeah, no problem, man.
Plays a land.
You must have a play here, otherwise you would have cracked the clue.
Yeah, there's a Further Homunculus.
Crack the clue next turn. Hey, look, it's a Dongriff.
How'd you know he was going to draw
Yeah,
that?
it's so brutal. You know,
Yeah.
like the worst is when you forget.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, everyone forgets.
You know, you're just like, come on, one-time land, and then you're like, oh, wait, yeah, I knew that was there.
Oh, instead plays 2 cards. Plays Steadfast Cathar and Guardian of Pilgrims.
Okay.
Couple of 2-drops.
Yeah, those are not going to get the job done here.
Yeah. It's going wide, but not nearly wide enough.
Correct. In the meantime, clue cashed in, and like you said earlier, there's that third counter, just setting a personal best every time.
I love a card like Guardian of Pilgrims.
Just a solid little
Just all
two.
like, you know, it's like feels like very similar to Obsessive Skinner for me. Like, you know, it could be just a 2/2. Sometimes it boosts another card. You know, sometimes it's that just last little point of life you need to get across in the air. You know, you pump a flyer.
Yeah, you know, and I think the best thing about those is that they enable attacks that sometimes you wouldn't have.
Yeah.
You know, not just an extra point, but sometimes an extra 3 or 4.
Sleep paralysis. Let me just tap that for you.
Yeah, he does have to remember the trigger, so he may as well do it himself.
Yeah. And then in with the team.
Yeah, this has just slipped completely away from Petr.
Yeah, and he sees the handwriting on the wall there, and
He sees the dice on the Bloodbriar
Yeah.
and calls it a game. All right. Wow, BBD is getting so close now. We're keeping an eye on what's going on with Seth Manfield as well, because he's sitting in our feature match area. It might even be our time walk match.
right.
So I don't want to spoil anything I haven't actually seen, but I want
No,
to be careful with
he
that.
is not our. He's just.
Oh, he's on our live looking.
He's
Fantastic.
on our live looking. Yeah, absolutely.
Look at this.
The Midnight Scavengers attacking into Ben Sek, who's at 11-2.
By the way, Ben Sek is at 11-2. It's kind of a storyline. Ben is
Activates
a native
Sanctifier
Australian.
Souls, makes a Spirit Token, eats a Midnight Scavenger.
Are we making some mischief here?
Yep.
What
and
else is new? Every time we come in to watch Seth, he's doing this. He just likes to watch the world burn, I think. He's
Makes mischief, but there's another activation of Sanctifier Souls.
okay. He's just doing it while he still has it.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
actually save
Yeah,
the
it doesn't save it
Sanctifier.
because the Weaver also.
Yeah.
And then Farbog Revenant.
I mean, the Weaver's supposed to be good against all these little spirit tokens and humans and stuff, right?
Yeah. I see a Silent Visitor. in
Another
hand.
card that the Weaver's quite good against as well. Geez, this matchup actually just looks really bad for Ben, even though it seems like he's doing quite well. But that Weaver of Lightning is just mowing down too many cards.
Yeah, and
the
he just
Silent
passes the
Visitor
turn.
kills it. He can't even play it. Ugh.
Does Ben have any ways to even deal with? Or
You know, you would think so. It's interesting because a lot of the removals leaves it on the battlefield.
yeah,
You know, you choking restraints it, and Seth's like, yeah, sure.
right. You see a dead weight in Ben's hand, which isn't going to get the job done.
Right, that kind
Boone
of card.
is not going to get. Boone's
Boone.
almost worse because it can start attacking for 4.
Yeah. And as it sits, I mean, that Weaver of Lightning is just passively holding back all of the spirits by being a reach blocker, and it's actively going to start mowing them down once Seth finds any instants or sorceries.
All right, so dead weight,
The Rancid Rats,
the rats. I wonder if
that's not that
if we've got
exciting.
a Ironclad Slayer here. No.
Well, maybe he has Delirium now.
Okay.
That could unlock his 2/3 flyer down there and also make the Paranoid Perish Blade bigger and first strike gear. So,
Yeah, no real. Okay, in comes the Devil for Seth Manfield. He's never not attacked with the Devil. Ben has no blocks. He doesn't want to lose his Asylum Visitor.
This is the side against the house, man.
Ben's at 7.
Oscar Christensen, your total master drop is waiting for you.
Now that Asylum Visitor is going to trigger here, right?
Yeah. Goes to 6. Draws 2 lands off for his turn. Okay.
I'm going to assume
Here
that he
comes
does
the
have
Parish
Delirium
Blade.
here.
Yeah.
Seth took it.
And no blocks. Falls to 11. Just
Devils have no fear whatsoever.
yeah. And he blocked.
Yeah, you know, it's really funny because I think Ben maybe is interested in having his Asylum Visitor die.
And it does.
It is not optional, and it can get a little awkward. I mean, he can just keep a card in his hand, but like if Seth empties his hand, it also triggers on Seth's turn. So
Here's the Eternal Scourge for Seth Manfield. More 1 toughness creatures.
no
Another
kidding.
steadfast Cathar. You're not missing any magic on our main table. They're still shuffling, probably resolving some mulligans.
Yeah, we'll head back over there once they're ready.
Yeah. And Seth just says go. Go.
This game has gotten a little weird, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Weaver of Lightning doing such overtime here. Again, not even killing creatures. Oh, no,
yeah,
another
there's
one?
Another Weaver. Okay, we're going to go back to our main match right now between Brian Braun-Duin and Peter Sahoric. It is underway. See if we can find out how many cards these players started with. Guardian of Pilgrims, his first play for Petter, and a Furtive Homunculus comes down for Brian Braun-Duin.
So not the big hitters yet for these players, but we'll get there.
Second Guardian of Pilgrims for Petter, and now he's able to attack for 3 here. Pumps up the first one. And there is the Foul Emissary. Finds it of the
Horrid Swarm.
Horrid Swarm.
Mhm. It's a great pickup for him here. That's the kind of card that can really swing this game. It's
And again,
a
we
little
talked about
awkward
the
because I
idea-
think he wouldn't have hated blocking with the Foul Emissary, but I think he wants to keep it now.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Petter's deck wanting to go wide and kind of
Yeah.
win with a a big team pump spell.
Yeah, he's got 3 different. He's got an Inspire Captain and 2 Borrow Grace.
And it of the Hard Swarm really stymies that plan. We're waiting on something here. See Petter sitting with his arms crossed. Okay, we're underway.
Uh-oh. Hands in the hair. He looks just like the Twitch emoticon. Not like this. Oh, man.
Yep, fistful of cards for Brian Braun-Duin. Fistful of hair for Petter Sahoric.
Yes.
All right, in with both. Foul Emissary, Furtive Homunculus trades with that, and here comes an Ironclad Slayer without any iron. Nothing to return, just the 3/2 for 3. And it of the Hard Swarm comes in and makes 3 tokens.
Yeah.
You get a
Yeah.
3/2 Eldrazi for sacrificing the Foul Emissary and 2 insect tokens.
That could be it. I mean, Petter needs to hit his land and needs to have some really impressive stuff, but it is so tough for green-white to come back from that level of value. He just put 9 power on the battlefield with that play.
Ugh. Steadfast Cathar. And
Misses
kind
his
of like,
land.
ugh.
He misses
Yeah.
his land. I mean, he's just too far behind now. This is looking fantastic for Brian Braun.
And again, remind us what would this mean if Brian Braun wins this match?
So on a personal level, for Brian, he's a gold pro now. If he gets 12-4 or better at this GP, he locks up platinum, which is obviously fantastic. And then he puts himself 1 win away from completely locking up the GP Player of the Year. Even then, he's looking in very good shape for that, as right now Seth Manfield has to win the Grand Prix outright, assuming that that Brian doesn't win this match or the next match.
Wow.
So
Meanwhile, he just keeps padding his board. Enlightened Maniac comes out, and Angelic Purge.
very painful Angelic
Yeah.
Purge here, just sacrificing actual board state
Yeah, had to sacrifice
to take
the
down the 4/4.
Steadfast Cathar. And the 2 Eldrazi Horrors come in. Hey, do you trade here, Marshall? Do you just say, just get these off the board? and then-
Yes,
Yeah. But are you worried about all that untapped mana?
I'm worried about everything. Yeah, you know how it goes, though, when you get to this point in the game.
So he just puts 1 creature at risk. Another land for BBD, but no play. Epiphany at the Drown Yard. Here at the end of the turn for Brian Braun.
For 100? What?
Yeah, it was,
Well,
it's like, I'm going to flip my deck over.
Petter just picked up a win condition. He can now try to deck him, I guess.
You see a Clip Wings, an ongoing investigation.
This is a side events announcement. Players in the Shadows of Wintershot, Eldritch Moon, draft number 41, draft number 41, and draft
see the
number
card?
40. Draft number 40.
So you,
please come on
unlike
to
some of the
side
other
of
cards, you get to
contest.
you get to make the piles, and then your opponent has to choose. So it's Island, Byway Courier, Prey Upon, Clip Wings, Island, ongoing investigation. And he lets him keep the hand with Prey Upon and Byway Courier. Does not want him to get that ongoing investigation, I guess.
Okay.
So big fat hand for Brian Braun doing now. He picks up 3 extra cards at the end of the turn. In with the horror. Oh, he's like, well, before you attack, I'm going to expose evil and tap that and an insect. Here's a Bloodbriar. Here's a Byway Courier. And goes with
Island
BBD.
players, your event is starting. Your clearing is
Still no land for Petter here.
Island appearance and the Gideon board near the artists.
Again, losing this match means you are out of contention for the top 8.
Yeah, realistically for Petr, a loss here knocks him out of top 8 contention, and he is very likely going to lose here.
Another Angelic Purge. Takes out the Byway Courier. Okay, this looks like grapple with the past here for Brian Braun-Duin. Does not flip over an Emrakul, but he's going to take a foul emissary and keep digging.
Wow. He is churning through that library, though. The foul emissary puts it on the bottom, so it won't get him badly here. Not a lot left.
There's a Wretched Griff. Has the island. Plays the Wretched Griff.
Yeah, here we
Sacks the
go.
Enlightened Maniac.
And
Puts a
another
counter on the
sacrifice
Blood
card.
Briar.
Blood Briar.
Draws a card.
Did he draw his
Freya
card?
Pawn.
All right.
He did draw his card.
All right.
Wow. Rumbles in. Drops Petr to 5. He extends the hand, and Brian Braun-Duin has gotten to 12 wins. He's 12-2. Going to be playing for quite a bit next round. 1 round to go here in this tournament. Before the top 8, Brian Braun-Duin still alive for the top 8 among many other things, Marshall.
Yeah, I'm checking. I'm actually double checking on his Pro Point life totals. Sorry, not life totals. Pro Point totals to see where his status is in the Pro Player Club. There's a little bit of.
Our information
gray
came
area
to us
there.
from Mark Calderero, who's our showrunner, and feel pretty confident with it.
Well, I think he's wrong. So
Okay.
That's why I'm double checking.
Okay.
It. Yeah, yeah. But as far as the GP Player of the Year goes, I mean, he's one step away. Like if he
Yeah.
wins, then Seth just straight up cannot catch him. Period.
Right.
If he wins his next round, his next round. And even if he doesn't, Seth has to win.
Seth Manfield. Down a game here to Ben Sek. When last we left, it looked like, for all the world, like Ben was not going to win that game.
You're
But,
right. Yeah, and interesting.
Subjugator Angel comes down for Ben.
All right, so Rich Hagen updated us. Yeah, so BBD's a little far off of platinum right now.
Okay.
He's on 37
Okay.
points. But a seat in the World Championship is a nice start to platinum for next year,
Yes,
and he is
absolutely.
tantalizingly close to securing that seat. By the way, I did want to thank the chat for pointing out that to double check the
Sure.
Pro Point life totals there. That was very helpful.
All right, Subjugator Angel falls to Galvanic Bombardment.
Yeah, it looks like we came back at a really good time here because Seth has now fully stabilized and, in fact, is just
How did
attacking for
Ben win
4
that
turn.
game?
I don't know.
Okay, there's an Emissary of the Sleepless.
Ben Sek, former pro, he still dabbles. You know,
Yeah.
you'll see him out, but he's not, full-time testing on a team very often or anything. But he's from Australia.
Yep.
He actually lives in the States now,
He is the
but
only
he's a bit of a
person-
hero down here.
Only person to have ever won a Grand Prix on the continent of Africa.
Really?
Yeah, he won in Grand Prix Cape Town.
Awesome. When was that? I don't need an exact. That
It
was
was like
years ago.
2002.
Okay,
whatever
yeah.
It was. Yeah, it was during the Invitational. Make Mischief. Finishes off. That card has looked so good whenever Ben has played. Whenever Seth has played it.
I will point out once again
Yes.
that there is a Weaver of Lightning on the battlefield, which makes it look amazing. It might even just be okay on its own. There's a lot of 1 toughness creatures in this set. I don't know if you've noticed
There's a creature that
but
makes 1 toughness creature.
yeah, there you go. And it's also a 1 toughness creature itself.
Yeah.
Borrowed Malevolence is going to kill it and pump one of Seth's creatures. This one's slipping away from Ben pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever the Weaver of Lightning's attacking, you're in a bad spot. That's just like kind of my rule, a little benchmark I have for this format.
That is a definite hallmark moment in a game when your Weaver of Lightning turns sideways. Things are not going well for you. So Ben has found himself a dead weight here. He can use that to shrink down the Midnight Scavengers. Oh.
Jeffrey Chen, your commander pod is waiting for you. Please come to the side events counter right now.
Macabre Waltz is the play.
Did he just discard a card? You do that after.
Yeah. Gets back the Emissary of the Sleepless.
Yeah, that works too.
And the Subjugator Angel. So there's the Angel. Once again, the rule. Here comes Weaver of Lightning.
Oh, gee, there's his signature card, Spiteful Motives. He can't wait to snap that thing off.
Spiteful Motive. I had asked, by the way, we talked about a pick between Spiteful Motives and Sanguinary Mage that we watched Seth Manfield make.
Yeah.
And he said, like, look, I just really like this card.
Okay.
I wanted it in my deck. I felt like I had enough 2-drops. And a lot of my stuff is sorcery speed, so I really didn't feel like I could.
He wanted an instant speed way to interact. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But mostly it was I really like this card.
He's just a big fan of Spiteful Motives. Yeah. I mean, it is a solid
And we've seen
card.
him play it in two different drafts so far today.
Yeah, we have.
This is going to be certain death on a spirit, and then Weaver of Lightning is going to take down the other spirit. And that game goes to Seth Manfield.
So we're going to get a game 3 here as well.
We're going to get a game 3 here as well, unless somehow that was not the correct game score.
I wouldn't be shocked if that were the case, as you and I were pretty surprised if Ben was able to win that game that we saw.
No, there you go. It says 1-1.
All right, let's play another game then.
Ben is actually not turning his way away from the table. He's going to address his throng about what happened there. His throng being John Finkel.
I think it's Finkel.
Yeah. No, that was the match. That was a mistake there on the match result.
Okay.
So
did they draw? Have they taken a draw here, BDM? I'm pretty sure I saw one.
Oh no, yeah, they did. They took a draw. Okay.
Okay, so that was the other option here.
a third unexpected option.
Right. So they're taking a draw here with the hopes of Ben winning his last round and getting in at 12-2-1.
Right. Yes, and Seth being
and
able
Seth
to
is locked, so he's like, sure, because he can play that last round anyway.
Right.
Interesting.
All right. Well, that's it for our live action here in round 14. There's still a little bit more Magic we're going to bring you, and we're going to bring it to you in the capable hands of Tim Willoughby and Frank Karsten. Don't go anywhere.